Hello, welcome to this tutorial. I'm Morris Dimba, and today I'm going to show you how to fix or lay formwork on a concrete slab and support these formwork panels. And let's get started right away. If you take a look on the screen, you can see a very simple structure, and we've done this previously on how to place formwork on beams and columns. And today we are on slab formwork placement. Now, we'll use a special tool to lay the formwork panels on slab, and also we'll use a special tool on supporting these panels. Now, if you take a look on my right here, we have a button here. If you mouse over this button, you'll be able to see applications and components button. Just click on it, and this is the place we access all the macros that make our work much easier. Now, in this case, we are going to just type first of all formwork, and prior to invoking that formwork command or macro, first of all we have to put the slab in place. Now we'll just pick or select on this bottom end slab, then right click and come to special copy here and click linear, and we want to copy this slab up. The absolute height or ceiling height of our building here is 3 meters. I'll just type 3 meters here and change this to 1. We just need the 1 copy of that. Then click copy. It will go straight top at the top here. You can see that. Now this is the 3 meter height I was talking about. Now we want to lay our formwork panels here. Now we want to have a clear view on how the panels will be arranged on this slab. Now what I'll do, I'll just click on this slab. I'll then right click and come to move spatial here and click linear. Here I'll just give a slight offset so that we can have a clear view when we are laying these panels on the slab. I'll just type 2 meters here just to give it a slight offset away from the top end of these columns. Now I'll go ahead and click move and click expand here, then click OK right here, and right click and come to interrupt just to exit from that command. Now I'll come to navigate, and I want to rotate this. You can see the bottom end of this slab. Now we want to lay the panels here. Once we've laid the panels and we've seen the arrangement, how the panels are arranged at the bottom end of the slab, and then we'll take it back to its normal height of 3 meters from the finished ground level. Now I'll come back here on applications and component, then I'll try and look for the formwork panel macro. Then instead to do that, simply just type formwork, and prior to even finishing the word of the command you're looking for, the system will try to predict with a few words you just typed here, and it will provide you the variety of macro that starts with the same words. And if you don't want to continue typing the full name, just try and walk through among this, and fortunately enough, I've found what I was looking for. This is the formwork slab panel, this one here. Now I'll click on it, then I'll mouse at the bottom end of this slab. You'll see it turning black with a blue boundary. This is the location that I intend to lay my formwork panel. Now I'll click right there, and also you can check on the instruction at the bottom end here. Pick the slab and then boundary points, and in this case, in my case, I just use this shortcut. I just click at the bottom end here, then press my middle button on the mouse, and the panels, you can see the panels arranged. And this you may not see the difference clearly, because the panels color and the concrete color are almost similar. I mean, they're similar, so we have to change one to take a different color so that there's no confusion there. Now in this case, we'll change. First of all, let me exit from this panel command, this formwork macro, by right click and clicking on interrupt, then click on empty screen. Now I want to change the color of this slab so that we differentiate the panels and the slab. Now I'll click on that, then I'll mouse over this cube here you're seeing here, then click on that drop down arrow and give a different color to this slab here. I'll give it class 8 right there. Now you can see how it looks. We have several panels here, and we want to take a closer look on the properties of these panels. And to check that, we have to disable the assembly button here and pick and enable. Just mouse over, you'd see the instruction, select the objects in the component. Now I want to select this object in this whole panel component. Now just to check on the properties of this panel, I'll double click on one of the panels, then I'll close this. I'll be able to see that the name is Slab Formwork panel, and the plate is 13 by 16. This is in inches. I mean, it is in the metric, and we can change that. No, not metric, is in imperial, and we can change it to metric if need be. Now we've seen the properties of this. It is a plate, which is this, and we can change this also to a different material. Now I'll just click on empty screen, and now I don't want to select on individual panels. Now I'll bring back my assembly, so when I mouse over in any panel here, you'll see everything is getting highlighted. Now I have to select all this so that I take it back to a 3-meter height I had before, which is the appropriate height from our zero level, from our finished floor level to the ceiling height. Now to do that, once you've selected everything, slab and the panels, just right click and come to move spatial and click linear, and you'll get back to the 3-meter height by prefixing this 2 meter by a negative sign. Then go ahead and click move. Okay, and accept that by clicking on OK. Now we are here, and you can see the panels. Now we differentiated the color of our slab, and now we can take it back to color similar to our columns, so that everything looks uniform. Now first of all, let me just turn this around like that. Perfect. And let's move on. Now we've laid our panels. And remember, when laying the panels, the concrete is not always in place before. But in this case, we are putting the slab so that the panels to pick the profile of the slab that will be cast on it. So it's usually the slab is not done prior to laying the panels, but in this case, we are using the slab to enable the panel to follow the profile of the whole slab on top of our building. Now here we are going to supporting these panels, and to do that we'll use a special macro that will help us in doing that. And we'll go back to applications and components button here, and we'll click on that, and we'll search or look for a tool that will be appropriate in in making this work much easier and faster. Now we'll come here, and we want, first of all, we have two options here. We can use the scaffolding to support our panels, and we can also use just the steel props, but there will be many. Now let's first of all try and use the steel props. Just type prop, and here we are. Just double click on it, and we'll pick on that, load that, and click modify apply, so that we default on those settings. I did that prior to preparing this presentation. Now I'll just right click and then pick on that, then select the panels that I intend to support. I'll pick on these panels right here. Then once I picked that, you can see pick the position. I want to pick it from this position. That's it. And I want to just see more of its properties, and it is stretching all the way to the bottom end here. Remember, it's taking the full height of our ceiling height, taking into account that the thickness of the slab is 200 millimeter. So the supporting prop will run from the finished floor level to the bottom end of this slab, which will be 2.8. That's okay. I'll click apply and accept that and close it. Now I'll come to navigate and rotate this. Now in this case we don't need this. We'll close this so that we have an ample space, and nothing will be blocking us from our view of this model. Now we want to populate this all the way to the full length of this building. How do we do that? First of all, we have to disable this assembly of this steel prop. It's a steel pipe. Now let me pick on it and right click and come to special copy here. Then I want to populate this along the y-axis. You can see the XYZ axis on this direction is pointing on the opposite direction that we intend to populate it to. Now let me change this z-axis to 0. Then I'll come to y-axis here, and I want to give it a dimension, maybe 500, but we are moving in the opposite direction of the y-axis, so we have to prefix this dimension with a negative sign. Now how many do we want in that direction? For a trial, just feed 3, just need 3. Then click copy. There we are, and let's take a look how it looks. There we are. It is right there. It is right there, and we want also to populate this in this direction, but in this case we just copy. We just copy it from this point here and place it right there, and do another one right in that position. Now we want to populate this to this height, to this length of this building. Now we'll just press Ctrl and select these props, then right click and come to special copy here and click linear. Then we take a look in which direction do we intend to populate these props that will be supporting our concrete panels that we, in this case, are using as our formwork. Now we'll get rid of these 500, we get it back to 0 so that it doesn't interfere with our dimension in populating these steel props under our slab that are supported by the steel panels, steel plate panels. Now we want a 48 of these. 48 of these, or 47 will be okay in that direction. 47. Now at what distance? This will be 500, not 400, 500. That's okay. Then you just go ahead and click copy and accept that. Now if we move all the way to that end, we can see that our steel props are properly arranged at the bottom of these panels that will be supporting our slab during the casting. Now that is option 1. We can also use the scaffolds. The scaffold can also be used in supporting the formwork panels. Now we can go back to applications and component button here and click on that and try to look for the scaffolds. We just type SF, and this is where we are. I've made my presets just to make my work move faster, and you don't hassle a lot. Remember, once you've made your settings, save. Just type the name of your setting here, then click save as, then come here and click load those settings. It will be saved. In this case, I have my settings here. I have my scaffolds and scaffold 1. These are different height and different supports of my scaffolds. Now I'll pick on the option 1 and load the settings right there. Though the height slightly different, and that shouldn't be an issue. We can also try that and check whether the height might change. The height will not change. This is what we intend to use. Just click load. Once we clicked that, we want to place 1 here. we'll click right there and give it some time to load. I'll come here and activate that. Then I'll come here and click that and click load and click modify that. Double click on that, then click load. Perfect. Scaffold 1, load that, then click that, apply and accept that, then come to navigate, and if you turn this round you can see how it looks. And it needs a little bit of shifting the position of this scaffold. And I'll click on this, right click and come to copy. Not really copy, not the best option right there. What we'll do, we'll use a move command just to move it slightly off this position here, and we'll take it right here, right there, so that we get a better space, an ample space that will not be interfering with our beams in supporting when we support these panels. We want to slightly move it once again, but now right click on it once it is selected, then pick on move, then pick it from this point, then move it right there. Perfect. Now I think there's no collision with our beams. Now there it is. If you can take a look, there it is. It's holding properly the bottom end of our panels. Now we want to populate this. We want to populate this in this direction. So first of all, make sure that there will be no clash with other parts or with other columns. Now again, we'll come here, right click and come to move, and move it slightly in another direction. We just move it from that point to that point, and that I assume that it will not clash with any part of our structure, and add another movement. That will be okay. Then come to navigate and rotate that, and that's perfect, and we can go ahead and populate this. Now to do this, if you take a look on this scaffold, you'll be able to see that we have the bracings are just a line, which is not appropriate. This is not nice, this is not good. Now what we want to do, it's now being represented by line, because either the bracing profile here is big, or is extraordinarily small. So we want to change this, and to change this, if you take a look here, you can see if I mouse over this, you see everything is getting highlighted under scaffold. Now we want to touch on this, on the bracings only. Now to do that, just disable the assembly first, then we'll pick on individual braces, then double click on the last one, then we close this. Then under profile here, we'll pick this radio button here. This will take us straight to profile catalogs. From profile catalogs, we'll be able to pick on the appropriate circular hollow section steel that is appropriate for the bracings. I'll come to circular hollow sections here, click that, I'll pick on the tube and we'll give it an inch right there, and click apply and accept that. Modify that, and you'll be able to see this is changing. Now we have our scaffold ready there and ready to provide us with appropriate support for our scaffolds, for our formwork panels. Now we'll bring back the assembly so that when we try to populate this along the length of this building, everything will be picked uniformly. Now I'll pick this, and I'll try and come to special copy here and click linear. Then under Xaxis, let me first of all close this so that I'll be able to see in which direction the XYZ is pointing. Now under XYZ, under X-axis, I'll type maybe 2 meters or 1.5. And how many do we want? We want close to 15, probably that. And first of all, disable that. Then how many do we want? We want maybe 20 right there, 20 or 15. 20, right? 20 is okay. Then we'll go ahead and click copy. Let's see how it looks. Give it some time. We just click expand and click OK. Right click and come to navigate and rotate this. Expand means everything it has gone beyond the actual length of our building. So what we'll do, we can delete this. We can delete this part. So we can enable our assembly here. We can enable our assembly here, and we can go individually and delete this. We can delete that and delete that. Then we can rotate it and bring it close, and we take a look on how the scaffolds have been arranged here. Perfect. This is how it is arranged, and formwork panels are properly supported. So when you do the casting, you want to be aware mode that your slab will be crumbling down to your losses, and it's not right if you've done your formwork properly and everything comes down crumbling, running deeply into your pocket in terms of losses, and this is not right. Now this is how it's done, and this is done in Tekla structures. You do this particularly if you maybe the customer has indicated that you suggest for them on which type of formwork to use and how to support the formwork panels. This is the right tool to do that. Now I'll come to navigate so that we rotate this once again so that you see it clearly on how this is arranged. So this side we've used steel props, and this side we've used scaffolds. So you can decide to use you can decide to use the props all through, and also you can decide to mix the two, or you can decide to use one, and that's all. Let me turn it once again and take a look. You can also change the view here, double click on the screen and come to ortho projection and pick on the perspective right here and click modifier and accept that, so that you can have a different view of this. This is how it has been arranged, and you can walk down to the far end and take a look on how your formwork panel supporting frames looks. So these are steel props. Option 1, option 2 for the scaffolds. Perfect. Thanks a lot for watching this video. I'm Morris Diba, and if you're new to this channel, please don't forget to subscribe, and let's meet then. Bye bye. I'm Morris Diba. Don't forget to subscribe once again, and bye bye. Let's meet.